Hi friends, happy Halloween and welcome back to my channel. This is Caitlin from CaitlinAnnaleeCards, and today we're making our final Halloween card for the year, for the season. I might make a little spooky Cryptmas card or something, but for the most part, this is going to be it. I know it's been a minute since I had a video come out. Halloween and October just get so crazy for me and my family. But I had this one ready to go and I just had to edit it. So thank you for your patience. I will get back on track for November and December. Lots of fun new releases coming out from companies that I absolutely love. And I'm very excited to share them with you guys in the next couple weeks. So this is one big image from Purple Onion Designs. It's a red rubber. So I used my clear mounting stamp to attach it to my Misty door because red rubber won't stick by itself. But I love that this whole scene is one big stamp, so you don't have to worry about masking and layering to make your scene. It's super easy, and all of these images from Pei I think that's how you say it, P-E-I, they're so cute. Her images are so adorable. So I had used this same stamp set to make a really pretty, vibrant, sunny fall card on Craft Roulette's World Card Making Day live, like super long live. But I really wanted to also use it to make a full moon spooky night scene. So that is what we're creating today. So I masked my scene off with some full stick Post-it notes. I just fussy cut everything out. And then I took two more Post-its and I just kind of cut them in half with a jaggedy line. And that's what's creating our horizon line there. And then we'll use the opposite pieces, right? Those top pieces that are stuck on either side of my glass board. So when it's time to do the grass. So I'm going in with some blues and purples and a little touch of black for my sky. And my moon masks are from Tim Holtz. I absolutely love them. They're my favorite. If I can find them online somewhere, I will tag them below. I have two sets because I lost one of the medium moons and I couldn't live. I had to get a whole second one. So I like to put down some antique linen on my moon before I put in the craters just to kind of warm it up. And then this time I opted for some pumice stone for the craters, and I think it turned out really cool. I like this color combo a lot. So we're going to move our little moon stencil off, remove our grass stencils or masks, and now I'm going to add the top half to the sky, and they'll line up perfectly because we just cut them from the same piece. I did have to add the magnet to the top because while that ink is wet, the Post-its don't want to stick super great. And we're going to come in with our green to start shading in the grass. We are going to also come in with some marker because I couldn't get the precision shading that I was looking for, but it still makes the whole process so much faster if you can put in some ink blending for the scene. I really wanted my characters to be the focus and spend a lot of time on the coloring for them versus the ground and the sky. And so that's why I opted for ink blending those. So I took off the ground masks and I die cut my little panel out with a stitched rectangle so that I could come back in with a little bit more of the black soot ink all the way around the edges on the grass and the sky. I just wanted that like true vignette feeling. And so I needed to die cut them first to know how far to bring that color in. So here's where I'm laying in some of my Copic marker under all of my elements to get that shadow. Technically, I've heard other people say that you shouldn't use Copics on top of ink, but I've done this many times and I've never had an issue. So for legal reasons, this is just me showing you what I did, but I have never had a problem. I also decided that my horizon line was too plain, like too flat and normal. So I wanted to break up that sky a little bit. So we're going to come in with a light gray just to map out some trees and bushes across that horizon that are pushed way back in the back. Once I feel good about where I'm putting them, I came in with the 100 black, which is super dark, shaded the bottom and added just some little squiggles and kind of U shapes to start giving that texture of leaves and highlights and lowlights. Then I came back in with some C7 and filled that in. So it's just enough of a difference that you get some texture in there, but they still look like dark silhouette trees and bushes back there. Again, they're not the focus, so you don't have to super stress about these. I did want them to have big shadows because that moon is so bright. So I came in and kind of mirrored their general shape with some YG markers and then just kind of softened them into the grass. And I love how they turned out. So to keep things simple, I know that's ironic, right? This is not a simple card, but I limited my leaf color choice so that all the leaves have the same colors. I love these. I love these super warm, toasty leaves. To me, this helps really push that it's fall. And we're also gonna bring in some fun like Halloween-y colors into the little critters accessories as well. For my fox, I went with more of like a brown. It's still a very warm brown, but more brown versus orange because I knew all my pumpkins were gonna be orange and I didn't want him to get lost in a sea of orange pumpkins. I also decided to split his face into a brown section and a white or creamy section. So the bottom part of his face is going to stay light, like his tail, the tip of his tail, and the rest of him is going to have that really nice, warm, cozy brown. So just going through my E30s, 39, 37, 35, blending those colors up, starting to eat away at that white space. Make sure if you're concerned about getting a smooth blend that you overlap your markers really well. That'll help to soften any lines. And then 33 is going to be my lightest shade on the main part of his body. And you can see what I mean by going over that center part of his face a couple times with that lightest marker. Everything starts to kind of melt together. We'll use the E31 and 30 for the lightest part of his tail and face, and then some E49 for his nose, leaving a tiny little highlight. It wouldn't be Halloween without a black cat, so my little kitten here in the middle is going to be a black cat. So I'm starting out by mapping all of his little fuzzy, soft features with that 100, trying to still be pretty minimal here. And then we'll work our way through the neutral grays, starting out with the N8, pulling that color in. The most important thing for me is to keep the center of his face or its face very light so that we don't lose the eyes. So then I brought in some N6 and my daughter was giving me her opinion. That's that extra little finger in there. And then we'll go even lighter through the center of the face and the top of the hands there with that N5. So even though this is a pretty light gray, once everything's all together, it'll definitely still read as a black cat without having to go super dark on its face. Here's where I started bringing in kind of Halloween style elements. So anytime that you can add purple, orange, and green to a card, it's going to help to push that Halloween feeling. So my fox is going to get a purple scarf because it's going to pop really well against the orangey brown of his fur. But also it's going to start pulling in that Halloween kind of whimsical feeling. For our little dog, we're going with an E49, which is pretty dark. So I'm trying to use it minimally, kind of how I did on the cat with that 100. And just laying in the shadows on the bottom of the face, the bottom of the hands, and then across the bottom where he's sitting on his little bum. These are just so stinking cute. And we're going to blend that out with E47, same as usual, just pulling that color up, eating away at that white space. being very mindful to not get a lot of ink into my little chickadee bird up there on his head. Is so cute. And I'm just going to work my way through the E40 family for him. So after E47 is E44. And I'm just leaving the tiniest bit of a highlight right on the eyes and the upper part of his little snout. We'll fully fill in the lower parts, the hands and his legs with this. So just the tiniest little bit at the top is going to have that E43 as a highlight. You could probably skip that fourth color. I just really wanted a high contrast there. All of their ears are getting filled in with R20 for everyone. And I didn't love the blend that I was getting, so I came back in with a second layer of marker and just on the face, and then brought in super dark for its nose, left that little highlight. I did go over the nose highlights on the fox and the dog with a touch of gray, just so it wasn't stark white, but still had that nice little shine to it. Our little chick is going to be yellow. He's a little cute little yellow chickadee. And I think chickadee is actually a kind of bird, and I'm pretty sure they're not yellow. But hopefully you know what I mean. All my pumpkins are getting shaded the same, I believe. So we're going YR18, mapping out the like shadow lines there, YR15, to kind of blend and connect all of those shadow lines, and then YR12. And this is definitely a different color combo than I usually do. It's a little more muted, a little less like artificial in your face orange. And I do love a bright, bright orange pumpkin. But I just thought with all the other colors going on, that something a little more muted would be good for this one. And because this center pumpkin has a hole cut in the center where that mouse is, I'm going to shade this whole thing in with that YR18, that darkest color. And we're actually going to bring in an E marker to make it even darker once the rest of the like outside of the pumpkin is done. So that's at E39, just to deepen up that hole, and then we'll blend that out with our YR18. Add a little bit of dark G's for the stems of the pumpkins. And then I'm going to use warm grays for my little mouse. He's so cute. His big old bulgy eye. He gets a dark nose, and he gets R20 for his ears too. And then the way I brought in purple for the fox's scarf, we're going to bring in a limey green for the little chick's scarf. And I decided I wanted some pattern and texture. So I'm going in with the black Copic to add some stripes to my fox's scarf. And I also end up going back in later with a white gel pen to add some white stripes. I tried to add little spider web patterns to the chick's scarf, but it ended up just looking like zigzags, which is still pretty cute. And then for the little dog, I'm going to give him like a Beetlejuicy black and white striped sweater with a little spider on the front. I don't know how much this truly reads as a spider or like a spooky sweater, but I still think black and white stripe reads as Halloween in general. So I'll count it. I'll take one. I'll take it for this one. I also added little elbow patches because I thought they were so cute, and we'll go back in with white gel pen to give some stitch marks there. And then I just shaded in his little tootsies. Once I had my coloring to where I was happy, I'm adding this to a piece of orange. It's construction cardstock from Pink and Maine. It's this perfect Halloween-y orange. And then I'm taking this old MFT stripy black and white paper. I thought it would pick up the black and white from my little pup sweater really well. Borrowed a stamp from Stamping Bella. It says it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, and put that a little bit over the moon. And then I'm going to attach my main scene onto that back panel, and this card front is ready to go. So I love how this one turned out. I'm so happy with all of the makes that we had for the Halloween season. I will see you guys back here very soon with more projects. I hope that you have an amazing Halloween. And until next time, happy crafting.